Hey, free timers. What if your biggest breakthroughs didn't come from working harder, but from focusing on the one thing only you can do? In this episode, we'll help you find your catalyst, the unique skill, idea, or relationship that multiplies your success and creates more time freedom. Let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Time Freedom Podcast, where you can learn how to rethink your work and your money to create a life you love right now. Join us for insights to help you find meaningful freedom so you can choose how and when and with whom you work for as long as you want. Here are your hosts, me, Brian Herriot, and Kirby Denison. Yeah, so Theo's got some dental surgery coming up tomorrow, so we're planning on a difficult couple of days. Anyway.
Oh, that's rough.
He has a wisdom tooth that is growing upside down. So it's like growing into his brain, I guess. So yeah, so they're gonna take care of some things. But he's gonna be out of school for the day. Oh, welcome everybody to episode number. What are we on? Episode number 7. That's great. Episode 7 is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and I have a good story that I can use to help explain it. It's called the catalyst, and it's the idea that there's this one thing that you can do and only you can do to help you work less and make more. And it's an evolution of kind of what you want to do next in your lifestyle business once you get it up and running. So it's a fun, big thinking episode. So that's what we have lined up. I'm with Kirby Denison. She is the owner of Kirby and Co. And she is a fractional COO and also a coach for small businesses and a Jill of all trades. I don't know. Are you supposed to say it that way? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And I'm happy to have her with me. And I'm curious what's up in your world.
Yeah. We also, too, just had the dentist experience on Monday, actually. 3 cavities for one and 2 for the other. And then they pulled Skylar's teeth, actually. Yeah. It wasn't even loose, but her adult teeth came in behind her baby teeth. And so they pulled it and she was like, I didn't even feel it. She's like, I was almost asleep. So obviously the laughing gas works. I hope it works for Theo. But other than that, we're just in a new routine and I'm glad to have some quiet time.
That's awesome. So I wanted to give an update. So I'm author, speaker, entrepreneurship coach, all those good things. But I want to focus on the author one first, because the primary reason that we're doing this podcast series is to start to talk about the ideas in the book. And I wanted to give a quick update on where we're at with the book. And it's a really cool, exciting update. I had originally signed with a hybrid publisher, which is not self-publishing and it's not your traditional publisher. It's kind of in the middle. And the name of the company is Page 2. And the original arrangement that we had was that my book would release in the spring of 2026, April, and it would be released to online bookstores. So you would be able to access it through Amazon and whatever else online. It's a kind of a limited release that they do for first-time authors or authors that have smaller followings initially. Well, after several months of working hard and doing everything I'm supposed to do and pushing the envelope on a lot of other marketing ideas, including this podcast and other things, they have come back and suggested that I shift over to an imprint within Page 2 called Simplified. And this is an imprint that is a joint venture between Page 2 and the Mike McCalloverse, or Mike Michalowicz universe of, he's the author of Profit First and Clockwork and All In and The Money Habit, all these books. And together, we're going to that will enable the book to be distributed to bookstores and other retail outlets. And we'll get a lot of additional push from this other group of collective authors that Mike is able to introduce me to. So I'm really pumped. The one caveat is that it pushes the date of the release back. So any references so far that we've made to an April release, it's now fall of 2026. And you know what? I'm totally cool with that because at the end of the day, the book will be around forever. And
Mhm.
so I just want it to be exposed to as many people as possible. And if we have to wait an extra 5 or 6 months or whatever happens to be, so be it. I'm just really excited to have kind of this added exposure. So,
Yeah, I'm super excited for you. Obviously, I've been along for the journey. And what I'm most excited for is just the hardcover back book, because I know that was one thing that we both talked a lot about. And I know we all have our personal preferences, but there's something about a hardcover book for me. And nearly all my books are hardcovers, even like my personal reading. Like, I just love it. So, we
excellent.
do have the book cover design already. And if you
Yes.
follow Brian on LinkedIn, I think we're getting ready to share it soon if we haven't already shared it, timing wise of this airing, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
and that process was incredibly awesome to go through. I got feedback from a lot of people that have been involved in this process for some time, and also a lot of people that haven't. There's these services out there, and this is just worth mentioning. Probably it's called PickFu, and it's PickFU. Yes, that's right. PickFU.com. It allows you to test cover designs. It allows you to test titles. It allows you to test taglines, basically anything that you want to test. I think of it from a marketing standpoint. It's
mhm.
really cool, and it's so fast, and people give you comments, and you can really quickly see what works and what doesn't work for people. So I feel so good that we have a really well tested title, subtitle, and cover design that's going to make this book really, really awesome. It's going to make people pick it up, and then once they read it, they're going to be like, yeah, I need to recommend that to somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. Pre-orders coming soon.
That's right. That's right. And believe me, the pre-order link will be all over this podcast. One thing I wanted to talk about today was one of the concerns, let me just say, that scares me whenever people ask me like, oh, so lifestyle business, or, you're kind of doing this small entrepreneurship thing. I'm worried that they think it's for the non-motivated person, or the person who doesn't want to go, have big goals. And that worries me, because it's not at all what I'm trying to convey. Really what I'm trying to convey is time freedom, but then also still being able to do all these really cool big things. And so that is what this episode is all about. Like, how do you still do all those great big things, even though you are also protecting your time? And the prerequisite to even doing big things is to have the time available to yourself outside of the detailed day-to-day operations of your business to be able to think big and think strategically
Mhm.
about how these things happen. And so that's why this is a perfect fit for time freedom, is because you suddenly have the summer off. You have a summer to think, why don't I try this? This would be kind of a cool thing that I could do and maybe hit it out of the park. You have the opportunity to spend some time thinking about those things. So that's why we're going to talk about your catalyst today.
Yeah, and one thing that I just thought of when you were saying that, Brian, too, is this goes right in hand with the like think back, look ahead episode we
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
talked about. Is, when you, and I don't know why it just clicked for some reason, that the self-care is not only like the physical self-care and like the mental like reset, but giving yourself that space to come up with those big ideas. Like, if you're not giving
Yes.
yourself that space, then um you might be stuck in a box or something. And literally, when you were saying that, I was like, oh, there's more to self-care than just like the quite literal, like take a shower, work out, eat healthy food, blah, blah, blah.
Oftentimes, I want to explain, like, what do I mean by like going big? And there is some really good Census Bureau data from 2022 that says, I won't read the detailed numbers, but it's basically showing that there are reported in 2022 500,000 one-person businesses, 500,000 businesses that are comprised of just one person that are making $500,000 or more. So 500,000 businesses that are just one person making $500,000 or more. So that's, I'd be happy as a one-person business making 500 grand a year, or a one-person business making 750 grand or $1 million. It's possible, right? It's possible, and the data is out there. I would like to tell you a story to kick this off. And it's a story about a yard sale. It's a yard sale that I wanted to call a garage sale because when I grew up, we called them garage sales, but my wife didn't have a garage when she grew up. She called them yard sales, so we call them yard sales. And this is a story that will show you, kind of set the stage for this concept of the catalyst. In 2018, we were living in our same home in Alameda, and we had a bunch of stuff in our basement and decided we needed to sell it. So we had a yard sale. This was spring. It's like, I think it was April or May of 2018. Our son, Theo, was first grader. He was the end of his first grade year, so 6 years old at the time. And my wife and I are not big extroverts. We don't really love meeting people. What if I put it this way? We don't like people looking through our stuff and assigning value to it. So we were absolutely not looking forward to hosting this yard sale. Now, however, our son is the opposite of us, right? So he's actually in the neighborhood at the time. He's kind of a sulky teenager now, but at the time he was the chattiest kid, and they used to the neighbors called him the mayor because he just seemed to know everybody in town. Well, so we decided when we were setting this up that we were just gonna, set our goal for the day at we had a lot of furniture and everything, but we're like $500. All we need to do is make $500. And Theo overheard us and he wanted to get in on the action. And so he suggested that, he make anything above $500. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think that's probably appropriate. I want to work with him. So I said, well, what if I give you 10% of everything we sell together, right? Because, you want to develop, teamwork. And, I wanted to also teach him percentages. I think he learned percentages in third or fourth grade, but I was going to, teach him percentages in the first grade. So our yard sale's going along really, really well. And by mid-morning, I think we've sold almost $500 worth of stuff. And, I'm selling my bike. Theo's selling his bike. Theo's selling my wife's bike. He's just on a roll. He's totally in his element. And, I'm, putting things away, whatever. And all of a sudden I can't find him. And my wife was inside. I was kind of freaking out, my head on a swivel, trying to find where he is. And I finally figured, well, maybe he went inside. So I'm bounding up the stairs into our front door when I hear this beep, beep. And I realized quickly that was our car that we had moved out of the driveway because we had to set up the yard sale. And it was over and parked in front of our neighbors. And Theo was over there with the key fob. And not only did he have that, but he had this woman, I don't know, she was 60 or something. And he was I don't know what he was doing. And so I kind of listened in, and he had overheard a week earlier that Claire and I were talking about possibly selling our Corolla, this 2009 tan Corolla. And he kind of took it into his own hands. And he's putting the hazard lights on and having her sit down and asking her to turn it on and, telling her all about it. And he mentioned that Claire had backed into the telephone pole a couple of weeks ago. So even telling a little bit too much information. And then all of a sudden he's bringing her over to me like I'm the manager at the car dealership. And she's like, oh, your son tells me you're selling your car. And I'm like, and so she wanted to test drive it. So she did test drive it. She's like, before she left, she's like, how much? I'm like, I don't know, $5,000. I had no idea. We hadn't even thought about it yet. So she goes off and test drives. I go upstairs, look up the real value. It was $7,000. She comes back. I come down and she's like, I'll take it. And I'm like, well, sorry, it's $7,000. And she's like, oh, I know. I looked it up too. So I'll be willing to pay that as well. And so she drives off with the car, and I'm like, Theo, what the heck? And he's like, oh, it was easy. I'm like, oh my God. So we had a really, really successful yard sale that day. My wife and we sold about $700 worth of clothes and junk and trinkets, and Theo sold a $7,000 car. And people always ask me, did you pay him the commission, the 10%, or, the $770 that I owed him? Now, I kind of did. And what I mean by that is I did pay it. I put it in his account, right, for college, because I figure it would be weird to have a wad of $770 in the pocket of a 7-year-old kid walking around. I feel like the parents would be questioning me about that. Yeah, that is my true to life, I swear to God, story of Theo, the car salesman. And a representation of what I will tell you is one example of a catalyst. But so, yep, that story is well liked by people.
Yes, it's absolutely one of my favorite stories. I never stop laughing, even though I've heard it like multiple times. I'm just like, it just gets better and better. And like the thing that I just thought of when you were telling it this time was because he asked beforehand, like, did he already have this planned that he was going to try to sell the car? And that's why he asked for anything above your goal. Like at 7, who knows? He's pretty strategic.
I need to ask him that. I did ask him though what he was thinking, like why did he do it? And he loves cars. He still loves cars, and he's fixated on this McLaren Senna. It's like this $1.5 million supercar, and he's like, well, if I sold that car, maybe we could get the McLaren Senna. And I mean, sounds dumb, but then he goes on to say, did you know, Dad, that these high-end cars actually go up in value? They don't go down in value. So it would be an investment.
Like, yeah, I don't know if I shared about Lamborghinis on one of the episodes, but I actually saw a McLaren like in Colorado Springs just a few weeks ago. And I'd never seen one, and we were driving. Travis is like, oh my gosh. He's like, that's a blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I am not a
Those
car.
are crazy. Yeah. So he was a little bummed because we ended up buying my dad's used Prius as our replacement car. and I was driving him to school a couple years ago, and we pulled up behind this Prius. Did I ever tell you this story? Part of the story? And
No,
there's this bumper sticker there's a bumper sticker on this other Prius that says "Cool Prius," signed no one ever.
That's funny.
All right, so let's get back to the catalyst for those that are listening. A catalyst is this one thing that you can do that's so easy for you and high value that it's kind of like play. It's not even work, and it's this one thing that. Let me put it this way. Sometimes people work on 10 things to get 10% better at their business, right? This is work on one thing and get 10 times better. So it's a complete mind shift. And it's like, so what do you mean? Like, tell me what are the things? Usually there's 3 types of ways that you can approach a catalyst. One is, I'll give you the Theo example. It's some sort of exponentially valuable skill that you have. And so, I don't know, this is something that just came to mind. And again, it's a rarity, but it's pertinent. Like right now, they're having like Meta's hiring these AI researchers for $500 million packages. It's kind of current in the news. That's a highly valuable skill. AI research, right? That's one. Sales, people incredible at sales make tons of money, right? So that was Theo's example. There are others, like if you're incredibly good at like, I don't know, social media marketing or something, you'll see these. I mean, there are people out there, and oh my gosh, I'm sure they make a mint, right? And the only thing they probably focus on is that social media thing, you know? So that's the one thing, the exponentially valuable skill. Another one is an exponentially valuable idea. So an example I think about this is when you think of like tidying up your space according to what makes you happy. Like people come like, who would I associate with that? Like, do you know that? Do you know the answer to that one?
Yeah, Marie Kondo.
Exactly. So like, or another one is like, who is well known around the concept of like vulnerability and things like that. Do you know who that might be?
Brene Brown, right?
You got it. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I don't even think we planned this. Maybe
No.
you knew that. I was going to ask that. Or how about this one? Time freedom.
That's Brian.
Exactly. Right. So this is my strategy, right? Like you have to find the thing that is not taken, that's your thing that you can become well known for, have authority over, and then you can, end up hopefully maybe without a lot of work making more money. And then the third one is an exponentially valuable relationship. This could be the fact that I don't know, a president or, you went to school with the person who runs the Wall Street Journal, right? That could place you in an article. Like, it's the story that I sometimes share around this. And again, it's a little bit of like people that are already advantaged taking more advantage, but it shows the example of not many people know that Vera Wang, the fashion designer, the bridal dress designer, when she was a near Olympic skater when she was in her teens, got into fashion design and then used her relationship that she had with Nancy Kerrigan in the late 90s to coordinate and then design her Olympic costume, and which like just that's what vaulted Vera Wang to the the level of fame that she has to this day. And that's again so unique, right? Like, I was in figure skating, I'm in fashion, now I'm going to be famed, and so you just have to kind of look to yourself to see like what in each of these areas, what's kind of your avenue for how you can find this exponentially valuable thing, this one thing, this catalyst.
Yeah. And I think relationships is something, I mean, what do they say? Is it I'm going to get this wrong, the 6 degree, 3 degree separation? We're always, not, and I don't know. I see this so much in my own work is like all of the paths that all of my clients have crossed at some point, or like they're 1 degree away from somebody else that I've worked closely with or know personally. And I mean, and it's not like any of us are grown up together. We're not close. Like, we're how many states away, And so it's just so interesting. And I don't know, we've talked about that before too, is like, how can you leverage that? And I mean, get to where you are.
Yes. There's a book, Rich Relationships. The author is Selena Soo, Soo, and it's a big book, but the concepts are clear, which are, focus on the right people and develop a meaningful relationship with them. You don't have to have, of course, having 1 million followers is great for if that's what you want to do, or you could just develop genuine relationships with the right people, and that it can really do wonders for you. You just have to be, again, like, intentional about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of lost where we were here. So, tell us, like, how do we find this one catalyst and be able to implement and use these 3 things that you just shared, the skills, our ideas, and relationships? How do we find our one thing?
Yeah. So what I offer is kind of a series of questions that you can use to probe your experience or, possible connections, things like that. That then can help you either identify what you already have or where you think you could build toward, right? Because we may not have that perfect relationship. We may not own that idea yet, and we may be still developing our skills, but we can identify where we want to go and head that way. And the first thing is to really think about, we really need to think about yourself, because again, this catalyst is something that, I'm never going to connect with Nancy Kerrigan and become a famed designer of women's clothes. Like, that's not my thing. But the time thing, freedom is my thing, right? So here's some questions that you can think about, and I'll talk a little bit about them. But one is, what do you love doing that others do not? And this is kind of a 2-part thing where it's like, if you love it so much that it almost, if it's to the point of feeling like play, when things get tough, you're going to keep at it and everyone else is going to give up. So all of a sudden you're going to be the only one doing that thing, right? That's a huge thing. And then, and I have an example of this. This is somebody that I talked to the other day, where she had a business idea. There's I don't want to share too much, but there's say a government program, federal government program that's set up in the states, set up in the counties, and they're doing good work, right? Helping people get back on their feet. Now, each of those organizations, they're kind of the same organization. There's like, let's say there's 50 of them. They want to do the work, but they have to do all of this compliance reporting back to the federal government. They hate it. But my friend loves that kind of stuff, which I don't love it. But again, that's not me. It's her. She loves it. She worked with one of them, prepared all their compliance documents, sent it in better than they could ever do it. And her clients were wowed. And now she can do that 50 more times. Right. And like no one else would want to step in and do that because nobody wants to do it. But she loves it. They hate it. So that's kind of an example of something to consider in that for that question. I think, and the other one is again, like, what do you love that they don't? Where do you have an unfair advantage? Long time, like let's say you wanted to get into real estate investing. You're not sure where to do it, but your aunt and uncle are the top realtors in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Mm-hmm. Well, oh my gosh, there's your lead. There's your connection in. You have a total unfair advantage. And that's where you could go and look to develop your catalyst. That people will often think, well, I don't really have an advantage. There's a former, well, he's been written up for saying some bad things, but the cartoonist who wrote Dilbert, that guy.
Oh, mm-hmm.
We don't need to say his name. We don't need to say his name, but he wrote a really interesting article one time about kind of this concept of unique advantage, where if you take 3 things in your purview that you're decently good at and you combine them, you're probably the best person out there in that combined thing, mm-hmm. right? So like I was just saying like, okay, consulting, staying cool under pressure, and tennis. I don't know. Those are my 3 things. Like if I put those all together, I'm the best calm consulting tennis player out there, you know? And is there a way that you could turn that into like some business offering or something, right? So it's kind of an interesting way of thinking about that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I was just going to give one suggestion that I don't know if you want to do it yourself, but like my wife loves books. She loves women's rights and things like that. And I mean, those are her 2 big ones. And she loves writing. And I'm like, oh, I heard the other day that there's this thing. I didn't even know it. But as you're going through the editing process of a book, you can hire an inclusivity editor, someone that reads your book and edits it for inclusivity, to make sure that you're not inadvertently have all of your stories about single white men, you know, or you inadvertently say he all the time, you know. I'm like, oh, she would be a really great fit for that, you know, because that's kind of the unique combination. She hasn't done that, but you know, that's cool. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing, actually. I know that we were like kind of talking through the stories and examples when we're writing the book, but I never even like thought of like big picture, like that is a thing.
Well,
like,
I knew that it existed. I knew it existed. And so when I was writing it, that was an editing pass that I did where I just kind of thought through, do I have good representation of different types of people? And inclusivity also is, some people are visual learners. Some people like the numbers. You know, you just have to make sure that your book is kind of accommodating all of those things.
For me, the inclusivity also includes like some people are like auditory people, some people are kinesthetic,
yes,
you know, visual, like you mentioned. And so just using those words throughout, that's something that I've learned just recently, actually. And it's amazing, like when you're only speaking to one type of person, that like how much more buy-in you get and like builds your expertise, I guess.
Yeah. Do you know what that reminds me of when you were saying that is the money personality, where you're like, oh, I thought everyone had my money personality. No, I thought everybody learned the way that I learn. No, it's not at all the case.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And one statistic that just came into my mind is like, you have, you know, maybe you can only serve 50% of the population or whatever. And then if you're only speaking in that one style, then that only drops it down to like a quarter of that capacity of the 50%. And so it's like, I mean, then you're at even a smaller portion of who you can serve and things. So
I know we've talked about Morgan Housel, the author of The Psychology of Money. I've listened to him talk a bunch of times, and he is a reading type. He wrote blogs, he reads books, he writes books. And so he didn't even really give much thought to the audiobook. And if you listen to early versions of the audiobook, I think it's like his buddy doing it. Like it doesn't sound very good at all. And he was like, started a podcast 15 years after you should have started one. But he's like, wait a second, I'm opening up my work to a whole other set of people by doing it verbally. And so again, like you have to be aware of kind of where you're coming from. But anyway, it looks like we're coming up on time.
I was just going to say, and that kind of flows into like our last point here is like how you gain maximum authority and visibility is like using all of the things that we discussed today. So
exactly. So what I hope today gave our audience, other than kind of fun storytelling hour, is some ideas around how you can find that one thing that can be your catalyst. And then as you're achieving time freedom and looking to build your lifestyle business, remember that you can actually build the lifestyle business and still protect the time freedom because you're working on the thing that's going to take you less time, but like take your business, to the stratosphere. So I'm hopeful, I'm excited, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Do we know what is our next episode, Kirby? I see it there.
Yeah, the next episode is the no hustle transition to entrepreneur, which I think we've kind of alluded to in the last couple episodes as well. And it's like one of my favorite things to talk about as a business coach and helping people scale. And obviously, Brian's brought a lot of insight to me personally, and I know he's going to have some great wisdom to share with us next week.
You are too kind. Please like and subscribe and write us some reviews, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
All right. Take care.